What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review a 2009 mixtape by Waka Flocka Flame. Basically, this product is called Salute Me or Shoot Me 2.5, and it came out in the fall of 2009. So the thing about this particular product is 2009 was Waka Flocka Flame's breakout year. He started off that year with Salute Me or Shoot Me, which was a pretty dope project. I don't remember it as full-blown, but it had a lot of heraldment about it. It was definitely one that got some hits off there initially. It was kind of a mixtape buzz product that got the hit single "Oh Let's Do It" off of there. Some pitches like that. Waka Flocka was starting to flesh out like the drill type sound as far as pitches like that kind of particularly happened. Then in the summer of 2009, Waka Flocka dropped like his second mixtape, which was Twin Towers with Slim Duncan, which was another pretty good pitch just because he already, only being one mixtape in, managed to find like a pretty high grade affiliate. Just being one mixtape in, he managed to find a pretty high grade affiliate as far as pitches like that kind of happened. But then he put out a series of mixtapes throughout 2009 as far as that pitch kind of went. He definitely was on the scene pretty big, just like in 2010 and 2011, some of those type fairs. So he was really dominating like the mixtape scene. He used to call himself like the mixtape prince, so he was building up that particular buzz. He was getting some mixtape hits like Same Shit, Love the Gun Sound, some of those type ones, Hard in the Paint, some of those type fairs. Just really stacking up like a lot of mixtape type hits. A number of these, they're chock full of these particular ones. This mixtape is no exception. I like the concept of Salute Me or Shoot Me 2.5 just because it doesn't have the songs from Salute Me or Shoot Me 2 on there. I reviewed Salute Me or Shoot Me 2 back in early 2023, so I definitely want to get to some more of these. I want to see what it's particularly about. It's too bad that Slim Duncan isn't on this project. I would have to say that would have been an interesting concept. There's a cat that he really affiliates on. There's a particular cat that he really affiliates with on this particular project. I don't know what happened to him, but his name is Cartel. It's an interesting type pitch, and there's some other folks that were kind of like just more pedestrian seemingly, but it's just kind of the concept that this is kind of like Flockavelli and some of those Salute Me or Shoot Me projects that just kind of have some of these more low-key type cats. This is kind of Lex Luger and like his more early type format. It's interesting that in 2009 at least he affiliated with like a cat named Tay Beat, so when I look at the mixtape when it's on my media player, it basically says that it's produced by Tay Beats and Lex Luger, so it's a good concept to see what he was up to in 2009. Because I definitely would have to say that 2010, 2011 were some of Lex Luger's breakout years. Definitely making some loot there as far as pitches like that kind of happen. But it's just some good concepts to kind of get some of these Waka Flocka on like some early drill type sounds. A lot of this is just kind of a blend in between like Gucci Mane and like house party type fare, just like the house party sleaze, so like Gucci Mane and Zaytoven type stuff, just without the Zaytoven type productions, but just that house party sleaze mixed with like some drill type rap and a little bit of club hoppers in there. But this kind of similar to like Juicy J and some of those type folks that were doing kind of trap house party type numbers. This is a lot more residential fare. So this is just smoke around the neighborhood, get some gas station runs, get some Taco Bell runs, some stuff like that. Just that relative kind of midnight fare and pitches like that. Just more house party, local, chunk up the deuce type music as far as pitches like that kind of particularly having just some good concepts as far as that kind of goes. There are some Aaron type songs, even though this is a lot more rugged and just kind of more, this would seemingly be more of like a street album and less kind of commercial. There is some aspects that at least have some of that resolve. I'd have to say it's like an early format. This is a highly inspired mixtape here. I would have to say, despite the fact that it doesn't seem like the most consumer friendly, I'd have to suppose it actually does have some of that appeal. You just have to know which particular ones to go for first. I mean, at least Lex Luger is on here, so if you like songs like Hard in the Paint, you like songs like Oh Let's Do It, some of those type ones, Love the Gun Sound, some of Waka Flocka's more, some of Waka Flocka's bigger street singles, I'd have to say this does have a good concept of just being like a more down-to-earth, kind of more ground-level house party type version of that. I mean, Waka Flocka definitely gets tore up. It's more just like the street living of that, less just about the full-blown getting fucked up. There are plenty of smoking songs on here and just residential type fare for just outing activity and just social dap and just hang out type fare as far as pitches like that kind of happen. So it's an interesting type pitch to kind of get some of this just real localized type fare just within that pitch of standard fare, I'd have to say. So there's not really a single off this particular project, but to say out of 14 songs on here, basically the intro and outro slash, there's 16 songs in here, but minus the intro and outro slash is down to 14. Out of those 14, I wound up recommending 11. So basically the only 3 songs I don't recommend is just 9 on My Waist, The Block Hot, and Give It to Me, I'd have to say. So the concept of some of these, there's a few songs on here that Waka Flocka just isn't on. He kind of lets these Kinto and Cartel type cats take over. Cartel's pretty decent on here, Kinto's pretty decent on here. It's just kind of the concept that I feel like the affiliation, I definitely feel like Waka Flocka needed to like strengthen songs that he wasn't on. Now he does do that in some senses, like Traffickin's a pretty good song. There's some ones on here. I want to say that there's at least one other one, but 9 on My Waist is really not that compelling of one. This is just kind of one that is just kind of has like a minimalist type production, and like the verses. I like the production fare, the kind of glimmering typeness and the electronic type fare and like the chorus and pitches like that, but it just didn't really have the appeal and like the verse as far as that kind of went. I was just trying to be like a minimalist type one, just didn't really have as much appeal. I mean, it works just like some house party type fare. Like I said, like this whole project is just great for like a Grove Street Party type pitch. If you like the song Grove Street Party or BSM Party by YG Hootie, some of those type fares, if you're just looking for like some residential bound, just bust out like the Crown Royal and just like Jack Daniels, some vodka, some pitches like that. Just have like hella bottles popping, hella smokers going, pitches like that. It's a pretty good album. I just would a pretty good mixtape. I'd have to say, Nine on My Waist definitely has some of that fare, but I just felt like the production fare was just kind of slight and more stark than I probably wanted. The Block Hot's kind of like an overly dramatic type one. I did like the creepiness of this particular one. This is more midnight type fare, late night type fare as far as that would kind of happen, just with like creeping activity, just kind of fiery type tone as far as that pitch kind of goes. But it felt more dramatic. Just in overall, the pitch behind it was just the degree of tenseness on this particular song was just more than like the quality of it. I just kind of felt like, I mean, it's a decent production on here, but just compared to some of these, I just feel like it just was not edgy enough as far as that pitch can went. I just feel like there's some ones on here like, I feel like some of these turn up ones just nailed it better. I mean, I feel like the concept of like a Gucci Mane type one that he would do on like Return of Mr. Zone 6 or like some of his album or some of his mixtapes like the Burr Print or some of those type ones, just that particular fare just was kind of like a Gucci Mane-esque type song that just didn't really nail it nearly as well as it probably needed to. I was just saying better pitches within that sort of fare as far as that kind of went, but I definitely feel like a lot of this house party type fare, I would even almost say that Nine on My Waist could be almost like an almost song, but for the most part this mixtape is going to get over a 9 out of 10. So it's just kind of the concept that for the most part, just the here and there type ones I didn't agree with. I think you'll probably find more than enough to kind of digest here. But then Give It To Me was probably the poorest song off this particular project. This one didn't have Waka Flocka on here either. It was just kind of one was trying to be like a trap lady song. I feel like definitely What Set You Claim just pulled that off a lot better, I'd have to say, but Give It To Me just had a real clumsy kind of plotting type beat that just didn't really work that well. Just the amalgamation, how that one kind of was arranged, just didn't have the format behind it. Just just needed something a little bit smoother. The chase chick that kind of does the hook would have relatively worked, but just the amalgamation, that one, it was kind of trying to be like a militant kind of strip club bravado type song just within the sense behind it, but the overall vibes just didn't pull off the pitch as far as nearly as well as it needed to. That is kind of thing. But yeah, this mixtape, me recommending 11 out of 14 on here. It's going to get a 9.25 out of 10, which is definitely pretty damn excellent. I'd have to suppose there's a lot of good commercial gems on here and the relative pitch behind it. I know it seems like some of this might come off as more abrasive as far as that pitch kind of goes along with it. Just the concept of it not being quite as consumer, just in terms of it not being as commercial friendly as far as that particular gun happens, but it does have some of that appeal. I would have to say it's just kind of the concept of just knowing the right places to play which particular songs. I mean, you're not going to find like a song like Circles by Post Malone on here, and you're not going to find like a song like I'm trying to think of another one like No Hands by Waka Flocka Flame that has that commercial bite of someone like Roscoe Dash, some of that type pitch. But there are some moments on here that do have like some, I mean, like I said, this is a pretty wild and just overall shredding type house party type project pitch, just like that. Definitely has some of that just overall house party trap type localized type fare for pitches like that, just some good nightlife and that sort of fare. But it does, to say one particular song that does have like some of that relative kind of, this is a pretty vibrant mixtape despite the fact that it doesn't have like the most commercial kind of interface as far as pitches like that kind of happen. It's not like that's a huge problem, just being able to say. It's just kind of the concept that you just have like once again to know the ones right for the right moments. But Google Me is a real nice one. This has a real glitzy type of feel. It's like a glitzy kind of trap turn up of a song. I would definitely feel like this like some house party sleaze. I would definitely have to say it's like a feeling slumped kind of glaring night times of a song. I'd have to say it really nails the appeal behind it. This is one that competes with some of the leftover cuts of like Waka Flocka's Flockabelly, despite the fact that this came out a year before that. I would definitely say there's some ones on here like if you're looking for house party sleaze, if you love moments like Grove Street Party, No Hands, some of those type ones, Smoke Drink off of Waka Flocka's Flockabelly, some of that type pitch, just that house party type fare, just like just pounding shots, red cup type music, that type fare. I would definitely say Google Me is a nice one for that. I would say that Ride With My Niggas is a nice one for that. I'd say Call Waka's a nice one for that. Yeah, Nigga's a nice one for that. So it's just kind of constant. There are some moments like that on here. What Would You Do is a pretty nice one. This is like a gutter kind of seedy trap marinating of a song. I'd have to say it's like a dusky kind of primer for getting ready to get turned up later. I would definitely feel like there's some tasks wrap up in like a trap sense. I'd have to say it's kind of a more hustlers type makeshift. This is kind of like a makeshift type one, just the relative standard fare. I mean, obviously bills to pay, pitches like that, but just kind of the concept if you're just in a more hustle type mentality, is kind of more edginess towards it. It's just a good concept, kind of have some of that, just the task wrap up of just getting your crossing the T's, dotting the I's as far as the day is kind of concerned before getting to some of these more electric type songs and just more revving type fare, I'd have to say. It's just kind of some moments like that as well. They're just kind of get the task done, responsibilities taken care of. Would be some songs within a relative sense, like What Would You Do? Even though that one's kind of a more edgy type one. I feel like songs like Traffickin', On My Shit, some of those type ones kind of have some of that relative type appeal. Just some good concepts, kind of get some of those. If you do miss Waka Flocka Flame from like the Hard in the Paint days, this came out before that, but it's a good concept. This is a good primer for Hard in the Paint, but Fuck the Police is a pretty good primer for Hard in the Paint. Definitely would say this like an early rendition of Hard in the Paint, I would feel like. Good concept that Waka Flocka was doing drill as far back as 2009. It's like a good initial drill club bop. I would definitely have to say, and this is a pretty good slapper. So it's just the concept, pretty revolutionary type song, trying to do the same type vibes that NWA did back in the 80s, just a relative pitch to revive some of that type mentality, just of talking about those particular concepts. This really sparks things up, has that relative appeal about it. It's a real noise starter and just overall gnarled type mosh pit type noise that Waka Flocka is known for with some of his crazier type songs. I want to say this is produced by Lex. Yeah, this is produced by Lex Luger. This is just typical fare for Lex Luger as far as that pitch can go. So if you do, like, if you're looking for like a hit that's pretty damn similar to Waka Flocka's biggest off of Flockavelli, if you only know like Flockavelli by Waka Flocka, some of those type ones, Fuck the Police is definitely like a real, very similar cousin to Hard in the Paint. Good concept for that. Call Walk is a pretty nice one. Now, this song advertises the fact that it has Gucci Mane on here, but he's really only in like the background vocals, like the chorus. He just kind of ad libs on there, which is unfortunate, but it's just kind of the concept. Waka Flocka did this project on his own. It's just kind of the pitch. Not complaining about that, but it's just kind of the concept that Gucci Mane's not really on here. But the chick from 3-6 Mafia that was on in 3-6 Mafia for a little while, LaChat, she's on here. And then Cartel is on here. So it's like a creeping kind of entry house party noise of a song, I'd have to say. Another nice one for like some standard residential type for just spark and swishers pitches like that. It's definitely like a late hella glaze type activity, I'd have to say in particular. And it's just like a hangout hitter, I'd have to say. Some real creeping type fare. It's a good concept. Just some basic kind of sleaze as far as that particular would kind of happen with it. Just get the bottles initially popped into some red cup type music, PlayStation type fare, just movies on some of that type fare, just getting pizza, some of that typeness, just kind of kick back with. Good concept for that. This album is pretty frenetic. I just would have to say it's just kind of the concept. It basically, like when I've talked about Juicy J earlier this year with an album like Hustle Till I Die being like some real gnarled type house party type craze to really get tore up to and possibly black out. I mean, I would drink responsibly, but it can lead to blackouts just depending upon the pitch of the craziness. Waka Flocka is kind of like a relative cousin in that particular aspect. Now, a lot of this is pretty social. I feel like the aspect behind Waka Flocka with this Salute Me or Shoot Me 2.5 is just more social type aspect. It's definitely like, yeah, there's going to be some stuff here, some drink here, some smoke here, some food here, some pitches like that, some ladies, some of that type fare, vehicles, some of that typeness, and just overall noise. But this is kind of the concept of actually the dap getting pitches like that, the socializing, the thumbs up, some of that type fare, the actual noise, not just so much of just like this the sheer getting tore up, because with Juicy J you can at least get tore up with some of this by yourself. But the actual concept of the noise of this, there being people around and some of that, is just kind of is a relative, like the social score of this album is probably going to get a 10 out of 10. I just gotta say, just the pitch behind it, at least within the aspect of like the quality. I mean, in terms of like the commercial bite, no, there's not a hit as huge as Oh Let's Do It, Hard in the Paint, or No Hands, but I would have to say it definitely has the quality here. It's just the concept. Yeah, there's the DJ cuts and like the replays and some of that type stuff, the bring it back type stuff. I look after it. This is, I mean, this is a vintage kind of typical mixtape within that fare, but the quality is really off the meter here. So another quality house party type cut kind of get here is Yeah Nigga. This is like a queasing kind of woozy trap house party noise of a song. I definitely would have to say is like some good local Smoke a Few and kind of Taco Bell run type music, I'd have to say in particular. A song like Yeah Nigga is definitely a real good one to really feel it. This pitch like that, just really the queasiness fact. I have to re-emphasize the word queasy because this It's just the overall appeal. This is a head trip type song that really works extremely well, I'd have to say. Another one that's pretty close to that is Ride With My Niggas. Those are some real good pounding type ones for some trap turn up. Pretty nice song for the ladies in terms of like a trap sense and a more rugged type sense is What Set You Claim. Pretty good concept for that. It's like a trap girl kind of smoothness of a song, I'd have to say. The lyrics on this song are not soft, so if you're thinking this is like a serenade for the ladies, it's like a standard ballad type fare and just some smooth talking, butter smooth talking, it really is. And this is like standard trap type fare. Feels like you're talking as much to just like your homies as, I mean, obviously you're not talking romantically to your homies, but just the concept, it's just the pitch of talking in the same type pitch that you talk to one of your homies, like you're talking to the chick in the song that you're trying to romance. So it's just kind of constant. The lyrics are not soft on this song. There's like a relative kind of commercial bite about this one. It has relative commercial bites. It's kind of the concept in like a more rugged kind of street type aspect, but it is an aspect that kind of does it. I mean, the chick on the song, Chase, at least tries to bring like the relative type concept of trying to have like an R&B type hook on here. Works for that relative sense. I like the good concept. This probably could have been like a decent. I would have liked a concept like one of these type ones on like Waka Flocka's Flockabelly, but what it is, it works for a pretty good relative mixtape type cut. Just kind of an offhanded type one. That's probably one of the bigger songs on here that has some relative commercial bite. I feel like songs like What Set You Claim, Google Me, Yeah Nigga, some of those type ones. Call Waka, some of these type ones, or some of the immediate type ones. We'll get to some more immediate type ones momentarily, but I would have to say there are some ones on here that do have more aspects that are not just for hardcore. I mean, this is a quality mixtape on here, but it just doesn't have like a commercial single, something like Hard in the Paint or something like that that can really carry, or love the gun sounds that really carries this particular mixtape. But it's not bad. It's just kind of the concept. You just have to more be immersed in it as far as that particular kind of goes. But it's definitely worth immersing in. Trafficking is a pretty nice one. It's like a 3-6 Mafia like night creeping. It's like a 3-6 Mafia like night creeping of a song, I'd have to say. It's definitely like a Travers gem, I'd have to say. And it's like some Night Owl tasks I would definitely feel like in Smoke type tune to kind of get. So this Smokage, paying off some bills, but sending off some bills, getting some cell phone bills paid, some pitches like that. Just would have to say some of that type fare. It's a good concept just within that relative sense. It's pretty standard. Waka Flocka is not on this song like I was saying, but these MGM cats work pretty well. It's just more standard type fare. If you really are here for Waka Flocka Flame, it is kind of the concept. I mean, these cats seem more pedestrian than Waka Flocka does. It's not to say that they're just bad, but this is kind of the concept that if you're looking for like the big names, like one of these folks that was on Flockabelly, like Joe Moses or YG Hootie or Slim Duncan, some of those type folks that are more known. This is kind of like, I don't know what happened to MGM as far as that particular kind of went, but still good song to kind of get. Good creeping type one. Another one like Yeah Nigga, that's a real nice one to kind of get that really has like a jumping song on here is Ride With My Niggas. It's like a glaring kind of eerie trap turn up of a song, I'd have to say. It's like a get riled kind of house party type vibes, I would have to say, and this goes once again real well with Yeah Nigga. So this is the tone of Ride With My Niggas is also a pretty similar one to Hard in the Paint, I'd have to say. It's just a more eerie type pitch, just a more looming ghostly type one as far as that particular kind of goes, but it really has some drill reminiscence as far as that particular kind of happens. Pretty definitely similar to like the drill type sound pitches like that. Is a good concept. This could probably be a pretty nice one to kind of get. It's like a buzz single on here. Just a good concept within that relative pitch. Waka Flocka shows up at the very end. He has the shortest verse on this particular song. It was definitely worth it to get to that point because he gnarls like this particular production like he always does in Lex Luger type beats as far as that kind of goes. So it's just a nice one. Probably one of the album standouts in terms of like the sheer ones I would go for first. I don't know if I talked about On My Shit, but this is definitely a nice one just for like standard makeshift type fare within a relative sense. This is like a drifting kind of late day work shift relief. I would definitely have to suppose. This is a concept we kind of get done with tasks as far as a particular pitch kind of goes. Just an overcast day commerce of a song, I'd have to say. Definite Bill's Day type song, I would feel like, and just a good song to focus, kind of ruminate a little bit. Just pitches like that standard fare, just the relief of just getting done with things and just kind of not so much like a go smoke later, some pitches like that, but just an in between type day of just kind of getting some tasks done, just getting laced up as far as that particular kind of happens, just getting situated as far as that would kind of go. In a relative sense, it's kind of like a hustle song as well, I'd have to say. Keep It Real is a pretty nice one. I don't know if I talked about this one either, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. It's like a smoky kind of residential commerce demon time of a song. It's like a smoky kind of residential commerce of a song, I'd say. Definitely some night activity. It's like a demon time, just woke up type song, I'd say in particular. And it's like a dap song I would definitely feel like in a good fraternize type one to kind of get here. So it's just kind of the concept of a lot of this house party type appeal. There's some great ones that kind of go with like Call Waka, Google Me, Yeah Nigga, Ride with My Niggas, some of those type ones. Keep It Real is just another nice one within that relative highlight. Just a creeping type one. Interesting type pitch, because a lot of this was just some trailblazing type stuff. When you think of the Flockavelli album, that was definitely like a classic in terms of like early 2010s type fare, just because the overall appeal of like the drill sound combined with like some residential type fare for just like the gnarled type craziness. Just a good social aspect that just was not littered in like nightclub hits and this overall pizzazz and this overall sleekness as far as that particularly going to went. I mean, it had the turn up, but it just did it more neighborhood bound. And this is kind of a product of what this particular album, this was like a foundation to that sort of sound that kind of happened with it. But Keep It Real, some of these type ones, just a number of these type songs on here that I've listed really have that like that relative glitz. I mean, it's just a real fraternized type project I look after. I mean, there's some smoke is definitely to be had here, but it's just kind of the concept of actually, you know, like the actual dap of just saying what's up and some of those type pitches, you know. Everything Green is a pretty nice one as well. It's like an out in the city kind of noise of a song I'd have to say in particular. It's like a get crunk, get supplies type song. I would feel like just a good concept. Pick up some swishers, get some liquor, some of that type fare. Just get some checks, make some food, some of those type things. Get like a burrito or some tacos, or you know, like a burrito, some tacos, slice of pizza, something like that. It's like a situate type song I'd have to say. A money get song I would definitely feel like as well. So just kind of the concept, just the standard fare, just standard activity, just pitches like that. Social out and about with pals as far as that particular kind of goes. Just a real kind of commerce type one to kind of get into some more less residential around the neighborhood, closer to home, more just out and about, just activity. I mean, some of these are kind of traverse type ones within a car sense, but just more the concept of just on foot type territory as far as pitches like that kind of happens. The standard relative commerce, it just localized type stuff, just hop and bop type nest as far as I would particularly going to have, and maybe smoke one behind some buildings and pitches like that, I'd have to say. Good concepts for that. So yeah, that takes care of the score off this particular album. So yeah, once again, 11 out of 14 off this particular mixtape. This particular product's going to get like a 9.25 out of 10. I feel like the social score, that's kind of tricky. I think I'll give the social score like a 9.5 out of 10, because I feel like it does have the glitz on here. There's definitely some relatively crazy type stuff. I mean, it doesn't have like a full-blown kind of complete, I mean, minus like a song like Google Me, or like, yeah, nigga, fuck the police, ride with my nigga, some of those type ones that are just more turn up type ones. I feel like in terms like an actual song dedicated to getting blitz, like a full blown smoke to this type song, drink to this type song, talking about pouring out, like, you know, talking about popping bottles, pop champagne, some of that type pitch as far as that particular gun goes. It does not have a song like that. And it's not to say I slash the score in terms of that relative sense, but this is kind of the concept that, like I said, it's a more social aspect. It's kind of a real homies type project as far as that kind of goes. And there's not a problem with that, but it's just kind of the concept that in terms of like the commercial bite or the overall sheer blitzkrieg kind of craziness, although it gets crazy, the commercial boundness of this particular project is still kind of like somewhat not necessarily poor, but just kind of the concept that it just is not, it just didn't have like a commercial kind of like, this is the reason why you download this particular project. I mean, this is a good project, but in terms like a hit as huge as like No Hands, Hard in the Paint, Love the Gun Sound, some of those type ones, it just doesn't have like, this is a particular product that just didn't have like the Waka Flocka kind of anchored hit. And I question what the single off this project would have been. It's just like a standard mixtape, but you're just getting like a, you're just kind of getting like a data dump and an update from Waka Flocka around that particular time. This is 2.5, but I think every one of Waka Flocka's projects, you know, like Salute Me or Shoot Me 1 had Oh Let's Do It. Twin Towers had same shit. Salute Me or Shoot Me 2 had like Hard in the Paint or one of those type ones. Love the Gun Sound. So each one of Waka Flocka's hit had at least one street single or like a huge kind of buzz type one. I just question what this particular project kind of had as far as that kind of went. Because, you know, Waka Flocka was, of course, huge in 2010. That resulted in him putting out Flockavelli. Late in that year, I'd have to say. It was just kind of, I mean, this is a good project, but just in terms of commercial bite, it's a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, it's definitely good. Like I said, this is a blitzkrieg kind of project in terms of house party type fare. Definitely some good house party noises for some good be life of the party type pitch as far as that would particularly going to happen. Just the aspect that is less about the craziness of the music and just more about the dap and the situations. But it's not like that's a problem. I just look after it. So yeah, this would look after it like that. So in terms of the future, like Waka Flocka has not put out a project since like 2018, 2017, some pitches like that, maybe even 2020. I mean, he dropped like a Salute Me or Shoot Me 8 or something like that, one of those type pitches. But in terms of like Waka Flocka putting out albums anymore, think those days are relatively over because it's been since early 2012 since he's put out anything. But there are some more mixtapes to kind of get to. I do definitely want to get to some more of these, like Salute Me or Shoot Me 3, Salute Me or Shoot Me 1, Salute Me or Shoot Me 5. Some of those type ones are some good ones to get to. I want to get to like Twin Towers 1 with Slim Duncan. Once again, it's too bad that Slim Duncan wasn't on here, or there weren't like some bigger names that I'd say. I like the fact that LeChat was on here and Gucci Mane ad-libs were on here, some pitches like that. Cartel's pretty good. Some of these other cats like Kento are pretty good just within that relative pitch, and I liked all these Lex Luger beats. This kind of concept, I just question what the single would have been. I do like some of these buzz songs, house party songs. It's definitely like a raving kind of house party type project. Just a good concept, like some dap getting pitches like that. But that's kind of the thing about it. So this is a relative highlight. It just doesn't have like the commercial anchor to really back it up, but it is basically virtually a classic mixtape.